Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to click that subscribe button, the bell icon, like, comment, let me know what you guys thought. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Surfing at night might sound like an exciting way to add an extra challenge to your favorite pastime. It's portrayed in movies as thrilling and even romantic, and many big-time surfers love to share stories about their best night surfs. My friends and I actually love night surfing, but we also know that it can be pretty dangerous, which is why we typically avoid it. I noticed that surfers often make the mistake of going out into the water late at night without ample preparation, so I decided to make this video to share with you guys the safest way to night surf. So just how dangerous is surfing at night? The straight fact is that it's just not safe at all to surf at night. And this is because of a lack of visibility. If you, as a surfer, cannot see where incoming waves are, when waves are coming, their nearby surroundings, or their beach marks, it's easy to get into trouble. Not to mention that surfing at night makes it difficult for your surfing buddies or people on shore to see you if you should need help. There's a few other factors that contribute to making surfing at night unsafe, such as the inability to see any rock structures or piers, if there are any around you. And luckily, there's ways to make night surfing just a little bit safer. Just about anything can be done fairly safely if you take into the correct precautions. Depending on how dark it is on a given night, it can be very difficult for surfers to see where they are in the water. And so this increases a surfer's risk for surfing onto close obstacles like piers, boats, rocks, other people, other surfers, swimmers, cliffs, or buoys. So to avoid this, it's always important to stay a far distance away from all those obstacles, so you're avoiding those potentially dangerous currents that typically happen next to those obstacles in the water. And I know sometimes avoiding piers kind of gets complicated sometimes. Sometimes night surfers want to use those lights at the pier because they're well lit, so you can see around you. And obviously surfing at night makes it harder and more challenging to see when to catch a wave. We all know catching a wave is a very visual pursuit. If you're a beginner surfer, this may look like sitting on the surfboard where the waves are breaking, watching the swell, estimating a wave's speed, and attempting to match your paddling speed with the waves. But if you can't see the swell or the wave, it's difficult to catch the right wave. And as we know, picking the right wave to catch is actually really important. And picking and catching the wrong wave can result in wiping out, and even hurting yourself if you don't pick the right one. So not being able to see the waves increases this risk. And then once you catch that perfect wave, you just gotta be extra careful while paddling back out. You never know if you're gonna hit by another surfer. And if you can't see the waves coming, you'll never know if you're gonna get crashed on by another wave right on top of you. And the lack of visibility while night surfing also makes it difficult for your surfing buddies or people on shore to see where you are if you need help. And let's just say, knock on wood, you take a rough fall and need help. It might be really hard for your friends or passerbyers to locate you. And lastly, entry and exit can be more dangerous in the dark. So as always, it's important for every surfer to plan out how they're going to make their way in and out of a surf spot. This is necessary for safely avoiding obstacles, navigating currents, and the tides. It's just so essential to plan this in advance while you scout your surf spot. I also want to add that it's extremely unsafe to enter the water by jumping off a rock or a pier and to surf during the dark. So avoid doing this at night at all costs. I just do not recommend it. Just as in daylight, it's always important to practice other standard safe surfing practices and keep a close tab on the condition of the ocean as well. So I just want you guys to take it from my personal experience. My friends and I have all found surfing at night to be far more intense experience than surfing during the day. It definitely pushed my limits and required me to rely on my friends who called out waves for me and trust the ocean and myself. There are even moments that I felt like a jolt of fear and adrenaline run through my body as a wave snuck up on me, or I watched a friend take a big tumble beneath the wave and then reappear moments later. It's important to exercise caution and safety when surfing at night. That being said, night surfing can be an incredibly exciting experience. There are a few things more peaceful than paddling out under a glowing moon and stargazing while waiting to catch a wave. Not to mention the amazing thrill you feel when you catch a midnight wave. I'm personally a firm believer that just about anything can be done fairly safely if you take the correct precautions. So now you're probably asking, how can I make surfing at night just a little bit safer? And if you feel comfortable in the water and decide to paddle out at your own risk, here's some things I'd suggest. First, I'd recommend surfing with your friends. Surfing is better with friends, and especially at night. Because surfing at night poses a greater risk, it's important to have some friends close by to help you should you need the help. It's helpful to have a buddy to surf with at night to help you catch waves. and it's actually pretty fun to try and fill out your waves when you can't see them. However, if you're eager to catch a wave, I found it works great to have a buddy paddle out further to watch for the waves and call out when you should start paddling. And that leads me to this, is that when you're surfing with friends at night, it's really important to keep up your communication. Second, it's always probably a good idea to tell someone that you're going night surfing. Just like any other dangerous, high-risk sport like hiking, mountain biking, or anything like that, where you might have limited contact with cell service or anything like that, it's important to tell someone that's not there with you what you're doing and where you're going. That way they know what dangers you're in and stuff like that. So all you gotta do is just send out a quick text message to someone. Just said something like, hey Chris, going night surfing with Kelsey and Sean. We went surfing yesterday. We're planning on finishing up around 12:30 p.m. at the latest. And I'll text you as soon as we finish. This way, Chris knows exactly where you are and he can set help if he doesn't hear from you. Third, I'd recommend carrying some lights with you. One of the best ways you can make night surfing safer is by wearing lights. If you're committed to night surfing, you may consider investing in some surfboard mountable LED lights. There's a whole bunch of different ranges for lights that you can buy, all with different price points. These actually look pretty cool and can amp up your surfing style with some colors. Some of them actually wrap around the circumference of your board, giving you some extra visibility too. And if you don't want to purchase one of those mountable lights, just get some glow sticks or something. You can get a bunch of glow sticks on Amazon or anywhere else online for super cheap. Put it on your wrist, use it as a bracelet, put it on your neck, make it a necklace, ankle, wherever you want. Not only does it increase your safety by making you visible to your surfing buddies, but it actually looks pretty sick too. Number 4. Choose where you surf carefully and scout your surf spot. Now this applies for day and night surfing, but super important for night surfing. So I'd actually recommend just surfing at places you've been before, places you're comfortable with. It's not a good idea to go somewhere you've never been before at night, and then try to get used to it. You're just asking for trouble. So go somewhere you know and you can navigate easily. And if you don't have a spot like this yet, spend some time getting to know an area during the day. Observe the possible obstacles, plan your entry and exit, pay close attention to any irregular currents, tides, anything like that during the day before you go at night. It's also important to note that many night surfers like to surf right next to the pier because that's surrounding light. That extra lighting next to a pier can be really helpful. So if you decide to do this next to a pier, just make sure you're really careful of the currents nearby, as well as the inherent risk of, surfing next to that obstacle. Next, make sure you take your time and choose the right night. And what I mean by this is there's no need to rush this awesome experience. So make sure you just take your time and pick a night to surf when the conditions are good. So no matter how excited you are to surf at night, if there's crazy winds going 20 miles an hour in all the wrong directions, it'll be no fun at all. Even better is to go until a clear night. So for example, if you go into night surfing with a heavy cloud covering during a new moon, which is when there's no moon in the sky, it'll be extremely dark and really difficult to see anything around you. So if you can, wait for clear skies or for the moon to be bigger and brighter. Plus, if there's less clouds, there's more stars in the sky, it looks awesome. And that leads me to tip number 6, which is be extra cautious of sharks, you guys. Now I know everyone always says that getting bit by a shark is such a small chance, but you're always better safe than sorry. So if there's any warning signs on shore, just make sure you pay attention to those. And try to avoid areas of large fish populations. And large fish populations typically occur near estuaries where the rivers empty into the sea, so sharks are kind of drawn to those areas. So avoid swimming at dawn or dusk when the sun rises and sets. That's typically when sharks feed. And don't wear any shiny jewelry that might glitter or shine underwater. That might cause sharks to mistake your rings for a tiny fish. And always stay away from dead sea animals. Sometimes there's little sea lions on shore. Those things might run a risk for you. And if you cut yourself and you're bleeding, immediately get out of the water and don't continue to surf. Don't flail around, and lastly, just stay alert. Number 7, which is to follow the moon. And surfing during a full moon can be one of the most incredible experiences you've ever done. Full moons are celebrated all over the world for a huge diversity of reasons, and surfers are no exception to this. Surfing under a full moon can be a really peaceful and relaxing thing. And plus, surfing under a full moon provides a ton of light for your surfing sesh. And I think full moons occur every 29 days or so you don't have to wait that long before you want to do something like that. And that brings us to number 8, which is to know your limits. You know yourself more than anyone in the world. You know how good of a swimmer you are and just what you're capable of. So just trust yourself and trust your gut. When the time is right for you to catch some waves in the moonlight, it'll happen. But initially, just take your time and lean into the experience. Which is why it's super important that you take every precaution possible before night surfing. So grab your friends, scout out your surf spot, follow the moon, bring some lights or some glow sticks, grab whatever surfboard you're most comfortable with, and surf within your ability level. Now, by no means am I suggesting that someone goes out in the water at night. Not gonna lie, it's actually kind of a really stupid thing to do. So don't take this as me telling you to grab your board for a session at 9 p.m. I wouldn't recommend it. It's not safe at all. And so if you must go out there at night, just make sure you take any of those safety tips I outlined in this video. You should be golden.